everybody, this is your girl Angela Elaine. We're coming back with the third part, yes, part 3 of our series of what we can do to help our choir. And again, it's based off the information that I received from one of my mentees. If you fall in that category, go back. I put the links to the other 2 videos in there. The first one was dedicated to the leaders, and the second one was dedicated to things that we need to think about when we're trying to teach our choirs about ministry. And this third one is a follow-up where we can put the conversation, have an open forum, and talk to our choir members. All right? If that's you and you want more information, stay tuned. Hi, everybody. We are here to discuss that third part that you all have been waiting for, the follow-up to all that we have been talking about. But before I talk about that, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to like, subscribe, and share this video with other people. You're not the only one that's got questions. I'm not the only one that's got questions, but we work together. You give me questions. If I don't know the answers, I go to somebody else, and then I learn, and then you learn, and we all do a better job for Jesus. Is that all right? As the saints used to say, is that all right? But I appreciate each of you joining me on today. And as again I said, we're going to talk about a follow-up. We've talked about leadership, how we have to change our attitudes, how sometimes we grow up singing in the choir and we don't realize how much we know, and we do know a lot. If you've been singing in the choir and grew up singing in the choir like me, and in competitions and being the leader of a competitional grade choir, and they're winning and all this type of things, sometimes you forget what it's like to be on the other side. And if that's you, then the leadership video is for you, where I talk about things that you should consider. If you, after watching that, you can also check out the second video, part 2, which talks about the choir ministry and how you're going to teach them and convey that message to them as to what their roles and responsibilities are. In this one, we're going to do a follow-up piece that is just as important as the other pieces. And this particular piece that I'm going to discuss is very, very difficult for most people. Most people really don't want to hear the truth about themselves, no matter where it comes from. It can come from somebody that's tenured, that is very well respected in a particular industry, but let's be honest, we are subjective people. We don't look at ourselves objectively. In other words, you take yourself out of yourself. You step outside yourself and you look at yourself for who you really are. Most of us, if I mentioned that before, if we make a list and we tell people to write down who you are, we'll have a list of all kinds of things that we say about ourselves. We can whip that list out so quick, but when we tell each other, say, look, write a list of the things that you need to improve in, it'll take us 20 minutes to write down 2 things, right? So you see, one is subjective, one is objective. Most people are not objective when it comes to themselves. Even when I was in corporate America, working as a controller, working as an area manager, I had to ask the team what these questions that I'm about to share to you, and I also asked the same questions in the church, the teams that I was over, whether it was the jurisdictional level or whether it was my local church. I need to know these things, because like I say, you can be subjective in your mind. I'm doing everything right. I'm nothing wrong with me, blah, 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 blah. But other people are seeing something else. And you could possibly be a stumbling block to them. And you don't want to be a stumbling block to anyone who is trying to get closer to God and who wants to be involved in the ministry of the Lord. Number 1, have you ever thought about asking your choir what do they need to learn their job, to learn what to do? Sometimes they really don't know what to do, and they're afraid to speak up. I find that being in management, because most of us who are in leadership are alpha males or females, and we can be very intimidating to people. You know, like, I don't want to ask him or her anything because they may shoot me down. But for you, as being a leader, for you to step out of your comfort zone and walk to the team and say, look, tell me what you need from me in order to do your job better. How many of us have heard that on our jobs? Where your supervisor, your manager, your VP comes to you and says, what can I do to help you do your job? But most people who are in any type of role, they want to do the best possible job that they can. So you ask them, ask the choir, what do you need from me in order to help you do your job? Am I and you'll be surprised what they think about you. They think you're the greatest. They think you're an excellent person. They think whatever, they may say, well, sometimes you get a little, they're careful because they love you. They're careful about how they say things to you. They're supposed to respect you. Let me throw that in there. If you ask, they're supposed to respect you for your position and not attack you like I just demonstrated earlier. They'll come to you and say, well, sometimes it just seems like you just be like kind of high strung. Don't take it personal, right? Look at it as something, if you step back and think, yeah, I do get kind of high strung when they don't get the part right. You understand what I'm saying? Those things can help you because then that straightens you out and it also prepares you for the next level of leadership, right? Because we want to develop good people. We want to develop people who are ready for leadership. We don't want tyrannical behavior because you'll lose people that way. But when they see that in you, when you asking them, they see that you're approachable. Oh, okay, they are approachable. But you want to understand how they think and feel because, like I say, all people really want to do a good job in whatever they do. And they want to make sure that when they do it right and the boss is split. Everybody just want to get along and do the best that they can. You understand? The majority of us are just walking through this life. So when you as a leader take the time to stand down and come to them and say, what do you think? Just sit there and listen to them. You'll be surprised at what they say and how they feel about you. You'll be like, I didn't know you felt that way about me. It's encouraging to know how people feel about you. And then you in turn tell them what you feel about them because then they're going to want to know. You want to keep an open dialogue between you and the choir. Because the worst thing you can do is you have your way, you at a standoff, they at a standoff. You're not going anywhere. And when you sing, people can see the friction, they can see the attitudes, they can see all of that in your performances. Number 2, what is their motivation for singing? Are they in the choir because they want to be, or are they there because there's nothing else for them to do? We got a lot of people in the choir like that. And the problem with that is if they don't have the right attitude and the right spirit, that's a damper on the entire group. I just came out of a situation like that where there were people who had oppressive spirits, okay? And when they left, it's like freedom reign. People singing, people running all over the place. That oppressive spirit is not there. All right? What is the motivation behind the people? Your lead singers, what is their motivation? They should be willing to help other people who are struggling at their part. Kind of help them out. Kind of help them out. Instead of sitting there rolling their eyes like, oh. No, that's not the right. You need to correct that attitude when it happens. Because that's saying something about you. You don't have patience. Somebody had to have patience with you before you got to where you are. So find out what their motivation is. And if the majority of them are in the choir because they love to sing, then you got something to work with. If you got people in the choir because there's nothing else to do, they're going to always be an issue. And you may need to excommunicate them from the choir. You may need to do that because that's going to be an issue. You're going to be aggravated with them because they're never going to give it 100%. The other group is going to get frustrated because you're not giving it 100%. I'm giving it all. And it's just going to keep a vicious cycle going. And what we need is unity. I'd rather have 15 choir members with unity than 50 with a third of them with bad attitudes and spirit. God even didn't deal with that. A third of the angels went out with Satan when he got on God's nerves and you tried to do the wrong thing, right? So we don't want to do that. What we want to do is make sure that everybody's motivation for getting into the choir, anybody that you receive, make sure their motivation is right because that makes your teaching job easier. It makes it easier for you. If everybody's mindset is to do the right thing, is to sing praises unto the Lord, is to live for the Lord, that makes your job a whole lot easier. And again, my third thing, I kind of incorporated it in number 1 or number 2. And then also ask them for suggestions. You don't have to come up with all of the songs, you don't have to do it all. Open it up and tell them, say, you know what, if you hear a song that's a good one, because we don't hear everything. We have so much on our plates. You just basically, I want you all to be in tune. I want you to sing have an effective ministry. I want us to be on time. I want us to do the best job that we possibly can. And there are songs that they hear that you may not hear. And sometimes we can get stagnant, keep singing the same song over and over and over and over. We don't even think about it. Because we go to because the song ministers to us. And so we have those go-to songs. What kind of music Have you heard any new songs? What can they bring to the table? It makes your job easier. Then you won't carry the whole load. And then what they do is they bring all these songs to you. You take them, and you let them know we may not sing it right now, but that doesn't mean that the song won't be appropriate in the future. Maybe the skill set needs to come up in the choir before we approach that. Amen? Maybe that will happen. But accept those songs and be thankful that they are. Communicate. You got to communicate with the group. You can't get standoffish. It's very easy to do that when they do something to aggravate you, and it's like they're not paying attention, they're not seeing things. It's easy to go that way. But number one, as leaders, we cannot get frustrated. We cannot let our choir see us frustrated, because if they do, they shut down, and then we get nothing. Okay, so you want to make sure that, number one, you want to talk to them, get their feelings on what you can do to help them do a better job. Number two, find out what their motivation is. Why are you here? Why? And number three, then you ask them about you. Encourage them to bring songs. Encourage them to openly participate in it. Okay, you'll find that they have ideas, they have things that they can share. All ideas pulled together makes your job easier. And then at the same time, you're developing leaders. Don't squash the people who give you ideas and who try to help you. Don't squash them. Okay? Don't squash them, because you got an A team and you need a B team. You need a Bravo to come behind the alphas and keep it going. All right? You may even need to go 3D. Get a Charlie team. Make sure that there's always somebody that can step in and do the role. You got to train people. That's the only way they're going to be successful. That's the only way they're going to do the job right. All right? I hope I said something to help you on today. And if I did, leave it in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe to this video. And let's get the word out. And let's do a better job in 2023. Let's leave that old stuff over there. That's no good. All right? Let's do all 2023 and do the best that we can be, so that God be glorified, Jesus be lifted up, and the Holy Ghost can bless the land. Love all y'all, and